Joy De Guzman is joining us from Sentio Counseling. It is very essential these days to take care of our mental health because there's
Mhm.
a lot of heartbreak, heartaches, devastation. We see losses. I'm also hearing of some people that are hating on residents of Pacific Palisades, for instance, that
Mm.
that have lost their homes. There's trolling that's happening online on Instagram. There is looting that's happening.
Looting.
This
Mhm.
craziness, right? So how do we take care of our mental health during this time?
Yeah, we're not living through normal times. I think the very first thing for those of us who are very connected online is to create a news boundary, right? A lot of us are often on our phones, checking social media and the news. But if we're on that 24/7, that can really take a toll on our mental health. So create a news boundary, maybe check updates only 3 to 4 times daily, or at least intentionally build breaks. So you're not just constantly watching the news 24/7. So by limiting that exposure and making sure you're only checking reliable sources, right, and not looking at these chat groups or random, texts, you're able to stay informed, but without getting overwhelmed, and because it is like a threat to a lot of our well-being. It's important to establish during these times a regular safety anchor hour every day. Make sure that you set some time, whether in the morning or at night, to build in some calming routines for ourselves, like, maybe gentle stretching, right? Or journaling to process the emotions that are coming up throughout the day, or even just making virtual connections with loved ones. So if you're not with them, because it's really important to have that human connection to feel like you're not alone. And there's something that kind of naturally relaxes our nervous system when we're connecting with other human beings. And then I think the last tip that I have, which most people don't really know about, is there's such a thing that we can do to our nervous systems called a temperature reset, where
Mhm.
you just hold a cold glass of water in your hands, or an ice pack, or an ice, and you could put it on the back of your neck, and that provides a natural reset for our parasympathetic nervous system.
As a parent, and you're a parent too, how do we
Yeah.
explain this to our little children?
So, especially for little children, it's really important. We don't need to go into a lot of detail. Simple lang, use simple and honest language that just gives them the basic facts. The key is not to hide the truth from them, but to really be very forthright and transparent kung anong nangyayari right now, right? So, maybe an example is like we could just say there are fires in our area and that makes the air smoky and dark, right?
Mhm.
Just facts, right?
Mhm.
Um, and then I think that another important part that we need to incorporate into communicating with the kids is to focus on the helpers, so they know that there's a whole host of adults that are working together to keep them safe. So then, in addition to stating the facts of what's happening, the fires in the mountain causing the smoky air, we talk about the brave firefighters and the first responders that are really working hard. They have special skills, they have special equipment to help keep everyone safe, to really make sure that this ends, right? So the idea is to make them aware that there's a lot of people working together to fix these issues. And then the main thing for kids is to address any safety concerns. So if it maybe they express the concern directly, or maybe they don't. And so to incorporate, like, hey, but we have a plan as a family to keep our family safe. And then kind of just generally talk about that, like, oh, we pack our go bag, like let's bring our lovey. Or you could just talk about, like we're gonna go to grandpa's house or whatever else. So it's also important to let them know that you have a plan as the adult in the household on how to keep them safe. Or even as simple as, just like we need to use umbrellas when there's rain, we need to stay inside when the air is really smoky outside, so that we don't breathe that, smoky air. And then I think the most important thing, especially for our community, is to learn to normalize and listen and validate for the emotions. So if the kids seem scared, it's okay to say it's okay to be scared and confused. This is like not a normal time, but we're
Right.
in this together. Yeah.
Right, exactly. Okay, and finally, mental health tips for grief. We see a lot of
Mhm.
grief now. There's so much destruction, devastation, and a lot for everyone. It was immediate. It was unplanned. Some people lost their home. 5 people are dead. So those, they have relatives who, yeah, and the death toll may be rising, is likely to rise. So how do we deal with grief?
So I think it's important for everyone to just acknowledge that we're not living through normal times and that we cannot expect ourselves to, just be business as usual. We don't expect ourselves to go through all the to do tasks, but to focus on maybe just little steps, completing one step at a time. The other thing is making sure you check your basic needs as a human being, that you're meeting them every day, that you're getting enough hydration and sleep and rest and hygiene, right? Like you're trying to do things to meet what your body actually needs to feel safe and cared for. And then in terms of the grieving that's about to happen, I think we need to just maybe open our minds to the both end realities, that you can both be grieving, but also and needing to take steps forward, right? It doesn't have to be either or. It doesn't have to be like, I just need to be fixing the problem, taking the
Got
step
it.
forward, making it go away. It's okay to grieve and acknowledge that it's sad and it's difficult, while at the same time you are, making plans on how to move on. And finally, of course, the most important thing is there are a lot of professional support and hotlines available for folks that are impacted by this. And I mean, Janelle, you could probably provide those in for the viewers. There's many warm lines and support that people can reach out to get additional help.
Right. I guess the main thing that we need to remind people too is they're not alone in this.
They're not.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, there's a lot of therapists offering like free services actually during this time, and there's actually national and state and local, organizations that are offering hotlines to provide them that support.
Right. Well, thank you so much, Joy, for sharing your expertise with us today. And we wish you the best. You have evacuated as well.
I have, yes, my family. We voluntarily evacuated, though. Thankfully, our house is not in the active fire zones, but it's still nevertheless scary for all of us as we watch, the fires are kind of popping up everywhere, and none of it is really contained.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
keep safe. Hugs to
Thanks.
your family, and yeah, we'll see you another time, and hopefully talk about other things pertaining
Yes.
to mental health next.
Yes, you too.
Thank you.
Ingat, Janelle. Thank you.
Are you then? All right.
Bye.
Bye.